Good evening, all. So tonight we are playing Umlaut Game of Metal, which looks terrible on green screen, so give me a second. There we go. Umlaut Game of Metal. It is a GMless system, partially derived from a game called Eternal Contenders, I think, which was a boxing one. There's a fantasy version of that as well. And you play bands. So you're not playing like one person as a character. You are playing metal bands or something in the orbit of metal bands, at least. It's a very simple system. You'll see as we go along. And what you try to do is you start up your band, you gig, you try to build up money and fan base and all the rest of it, all before a battle of the bands that comes at the end. I picked this up at IndieCon many years ago. I think it's still available on drive-through. Might be a few other copies out there. And things went completely off the rails when we played it. We had bands summoning Satan himself onto stage to make their stage show more impressive, things like that. But you can play it straight, you can play it silly, you could pretty easily adapt it to some other form of music if you wanted to, rap or whatever. But we'll be playing it metal or in metal's orbit tonight. Right. It was a bit of a job getting players tonight, which is why we're late, and my computer crashed right before we were ready to start. But Simon has made it. And a new friend, Max.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't resist when you said metal bands, you know?
Yeah. All right. So first thing we need to do is to make up some bands. I did have some pre-gens, but it doesn't take long, so we might as well do it this way. So you need some scratch paper or a notepad document or whatever you prefer to use. All right. Okay, so the statistics are hope, ego, cash, and fan base. Hope, ego, cash, fan base. So your hope is how happy your band is, how well they're getting along, and so on, whether there's a Yoko in your midst or not. Ego is how angry and fractious they are. Fan base is how popular they are. And cash is how much money and free time they have. As well as your statistics, you have performance traits, which are technique, power, and stagecraft. Performance, technique, power, stagecraft. Technique is how proficient and skilled you are as musicians. Power is how loud you can play, and stagecraft is how good you look on stage. Whether you've got the nice gear, the expensive instruments, whether you've got go-go dancers, laser light shows, or whatever else. So,
Or a secondhand $15 amplifier, you know.
Yeah. Or a rolled up piece of paper into a cone or something. That. Okay. Create a band. Start off by deciding what kind of metal or metal adjacent stuff they might be. So what style are you?
Can I be brutal death metal?
Yes.
Awesome.
I think I want to go with like it's like 80s thrash, you know, the classic.
Cool. And I've gone with industrial. So that's your concept. So then there's the band members. To start with, you only need to define one member of the band. You can create others later on. So typically that would be the front man, the singer.
Cool. I've got Peasant Pete, the front man.
Sweet. Okay, so each of your statistics, hope, ego, cash, and fan base, all start at 1. Oh, sorry, except cash, which starts at 0. So 1 for hope,
Like real life.
0 for cash, 1 for fan base. Yeah. Okay, and then on your performance traits, technique, power, and stagecraft, they all start at 1, and then you can spend another 4 points through them.
So that's technique, power, and stagecraft. So.
Yeah. So there's a total of 7. You have to have at least 1 in each.
And then we add, we spend 4 points improving three of them.
Yeah, so 1 in each and then 4 more to top them up.
Can that include cash?
No, cash is a statistic, not a performance stat.
Okay, so just the performance stat.
Just the technique, power, and stagecraft. Yep.
Okay. Power 5. It's the loudest band ever, but they're crap.
There's a market for that.
Going to call them disaster area, are you?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So if you're done with all that, all you need now is a band name.
Well, disaster area sounds. That's a good question in the comments. What level of stagecraft do you need for your drummer to explode?
Don't know. I think you'd need high ego and high stagecraft for that.
My last one died in a bizarre gardening accident.
So he used to play for Lawnmower Death, did he? All right, so if you want to, you can change your display name to be your band.
Oh, and you even did the genre. See, I didn't think of that. That's smart. See, he said Power 5. Stagecraft 5 would be interesting too, right? You're completely terrible, but it's the best damn show anyone's ever seen.
All right. Since I'm barely the most familiar with the system, I will go first. All right. So, structure of play. Players take turns rocking out. When one player finishes rocking out, it's the turn of the next player to rock out. Keep going with each player taking numerous turns until you reach whatever condition you've chosen for the end game, which we'll probably say is about 2 hours of play. I don't think we want to let this go on too long. Right. So the first thing we do is we choose a scene type. Scene types are work, publicity stunts, rehearsal scenes, band member scenes, split scenes, clash scenes, promotion scenes, open scenes, and gig scenes. I don't think we're ready for the big time yet. So we need some cash. So I am going to choose a work scene. So what is my singer's day job? Yeah, he works in a dying electronics store, like a Curry's or something, selling people stereos and so on. Right. So the next player in line is also your roadie. So if I fail in what I'm trying to do, then Simon will dictate what actually happens. If I succeed, then I say what happens. So it's just putting in some extra hours to get some extra money so that he can buy up some more equipment. So the way we resolve who wins and who fails is we draw cards. So
Is that a deck of cards each? Or?
I'm just going to use one here, and I'll switch the camera down to look.
Okay.
Okay, so I draw my ego, and effectively Simon will draw 2 cards, but I'll be doing all the cards, obviously, here. Then you need more black cards to succeed. Okay. So spangly cards. Right. So I draw 1 for my ego. And then Simon effectively draws 2. Okay, so we've tied. We've got 1 black card each. It's whoever has the highest number of black cards that wins. But I have the highest number, so I win. So I get to dictate the scene. Okay, so the lead singer, and in fact, thus far, only member of Discordant Noise, puts in extra hours at Curry's, selling people washing machines and stereos and shit, swapping shifts with people. It's a horrible, terrible time, but it does earn him a bit of extra cash. So, because I won and I was going for money, I get to raise my cash stat by 2. But the music's obviously gonna suffer for that. Right, so work scenes. I won. Okay, cool. So that's my scene done. So play now moves to the next player. This will get smoother as we go along, I promise, and get more creative. So we move around, and Simon, disaster area. What type of scene do you want to go for?
Well, I guess Peasant Pete needs some money as well, so he's going to go to the job centre and try and convince them that disaster area is equivalent to looking for work. He's trying to get his band gigs, even if it's
right. So you want to keep getting unemployment payments?
Yeah, but without having an actual job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely not based on something I did when I was younger.
So are you trying to get 1 cash or 2 cash?
I'm I am just going to go for the 1 cash because it's unemployment payments, so it's not going to be big money.
Okay. Right. So, what's your ego? 1, isn't it?
My ego is 1, yeah.
Yeah. So you draw 1 card. You get a Jack of Clubs, which is a good card to have. And now, if we were all sat around the table, right to offend would draw. Right, so you succeed. You can put your cash up by 1. Remarkably, the job center agrees. And so you can dictate how that goes. You can describe the scene as you wish.
So the bureaucrat at the job center just can't be bothered dealing with Peasant Pete, who's turned up in his corpse paint and just wants him to go away. So they're just like, yeah, look, okay, fine. I'll sign you on for this week. You'll get your dole money. See you next week.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. What scene do you want for right to offend?
I don't think I caught all of them. I mean, work probably is the right answer on your first move. So I'll go with that.
Well, I'll go through them again for everyone's sake. So work scenes, publicity stunts, band rehearsal, particular band member scenes, split scenes. What are split scenes? Hang on. It'd be helpful if I could give a bit more description. Okay, so band member scenes are when members of your band like go out partying or whatever to raise their morale. That's what those are. Split scenes are when the band might break up. So if your ego gets to 4 or more, then one of us can forego our turn to force a split scene on you. On your turn, and then you see if the band splits up or whatever happens. Clash scenes is some kind of rivalry, could be a bar fight, could be a drag race, whatever. Promotion scenes is advertising your gigs. Open scenes is basically anything that isn't covered otherwise, and gig scenes is when you play a gig to see how well you do. But you want to be prepared for those. So, what do you want to go for then? Work?
I'm gonna go different than both of you. I'm gonna do a PR stunt, right?
Okay.
Because nobody knows who the hell we are, right? So I'm gonna climb the Empire State Building and plant my hand-drawn logo flag up there.
Okay. You have to spend cash for publicity stunts.
Well, then I guess I got to work.
Yeah. So
enough.
you're working on the idea. So what do your band members do for a living?
They all work for an extermination company, killing small vermin and animals.
Okay. So how much cash are you trying to earn? 1 or 2?
I mean, go big, right? I'll go 2.
Okay. And your ego is 1?
Yes.
Okay. So I keep forgetting to switch the camera back to me, but oh well. All right. So 1 for your ego, and then I would be drawing for the cash. You fail.
Nice.
So I get to describe the scene, I believe. All right. And
I figured they have an extermination van that doubles as their gig van. Was what I was thinking.
Yeah, with the big roach on the top, wasn't he? Okay, you still get the money, so you get 2 cash, but you also gain a point of ego. Okay, so right to offend, yeah, extermination. generally when it comes down to it, you've got to wait for someone to get an infestation and then contact you and go out there to deal with it. So you're kind of restricted in how much work you can get unless you put other exterminators out of business. Or, and this is the brilliant part, says one of the band members, what if we infest people's houses ourselves? So having hit on that brilliant scheme, he goes around infesting people's houses, and then you coincidentally turn up. Oh, we happen to be in the area. There's been some terrible infestations. We should have a look for you. And so far, you haven't been caught, and it's pretty lucrative. But it's got everyone on edge, waiting and expecting to be caught.
I wonder if that is even illegal. Probably not. It's probably not something that they've had a case about. Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to try.
0 Theory says vermin are too smart for him this week. That's why they had to get their own. Right. Let's have a look at these stats. Well, I got a little bit of cash. So let's go for a weak-ass publicity stunt. Okay. So I spend 1 cash, and my publicity stunt consists of doing a lot of copies of our demo tape and putting them in every stereo, every CD player, everything in the store that I work at, so that anytime anyone has to try out one of the stereos or radios or whatever, it's our music that plays. And then I can go, oh, who's that? That sounds great, and create positive word of mouth. So I draw 1 card for the amount of cash spent. That's a failure. And Simon draws a number of cards equal to my fan base, which is 1, which is also a failure. So what happens if we both draw a failure? You and your opponent each draw a hand of cards. You compare hands to see who has the most black cards. Neither of us. If you have more than your opponent, you've won the scene and achieved whatever you set out to do. If they have more, you've lost and have failed. If you have the same number, 0, whoever has the highest value single card wins. Okay, so I win. 3 being bigger than 2. Okay, I guess that makes a kind of sense. Okay, so my fan base goes up by 1. Remarkably, this terrible publicity stunt idea works. Okay. So I've increased my fans in the local area. How? Okay, so Zach puts his demo tape in everywhere. And as luck would have it, it's a bunch of kids from the local slightly alternative youth group who've shown up looking to buy a new stereo for their clubhouse, and when they listen to it, they're into it, or at least are polite enough not to complain. And so yeah, I tell them to look out for when we finally have a gig. But it all worked out, plus that girl was kind of cute. Right, Simon, what do you want to do?
Well, Peasant Pete isn't the smartest man in the world, so he's going to ignore conventional wisdom and put on a gig in a public toilet. But first, he's going to have to promote it. So he'll spend his job centre money printing up flyers for it and sticking them all over town.
Okay. Promotional scenes. Okay, promotion scenes. Gigs need arranging, promoting, and advertising. A promotion scene is where players schedule a gig for their band. Every gig is played between two bands, and the band that impresses the crowd the most and gets the most glory wins the most fans. When you arrange a gig for your band, you need to decide which other player's band you'll be playing against. So, who do you want to challenge?
I'll take on Right to Offend.
Okay.
I think Thrash
Bands
Metal would fit best with the public toilet gig.
Bands get paid for playing gigs, but it's really not very much. More on that in the gig section later. So your next scene will be the gig. Okay, so yeah, it's just getting ready. It makes you use up a scene, getting ready to have a gig. So that's it for you, really? So yeah.
Do I need to promote it as well, or does that have any impact on it?
It would be publicity stunt. Everything has an impact, but we're all small fry at the moment, so it's not going to make too much difference.
Okay.
All right, so it is Right to Offend. What scene do you want?
Well, now I've been challenged to a band battle. Rehearsal seems like a wise strategy.
Maybe we should learn to play our instruments. Blasphemy. Okay, rehearsal scenes involve the band practicing, jamming, buying new equipment, or writing new songs. Okay, pay cash equal to your band's current rating in the performance trait you want to improve. So, what do you want to improve?
Probably technique. I got
Okay, so what's that rated at the moment?
2.
Okay, so it costs you 2 cash.
Which is exactly what I have.
And your technique score goes up to 3. And then you can describe the scene.
Yeah, they got together and they looked at the instruments and decided that they should probably learn how to play them. And you know, they pick them up, took some lessons maybe, since that's what the cash might be for, right? So an old lady that teaches classical guitar came out and showed them how to do scales, and so now they're on their way. Next stop, you know, superstardom.
Yeah. All right. Well, damn, these guys are, you know, actually playing gigs, but we're going to need more money, more than anything. So Zach gets pretty desperate and starts misplacing the occasional stereo or piece of white goods from the back of the store for cash in hand. No questions asked. And they've probably got some basic amps and things that could go walkabout as well. So, yeah. All right. So I am trying to get 2 cash, but I draw my ego. So that's 1. And then that's for the amount of cash. So that's the difficulty. Those are red. That's black. I succeed. I get 2 more cash, which is nice. Okay. So remarkably, I don't get caught, even though I'm like stealing the forklift and dumping things into the back of dodgy looking white vans and, you know, advertising to get these things cheap in the local free ads and so on. But yeah, you got to make sacrifices for music. It's just Zach chooses to sacrifice his boss's money rather than his own. Right. So it is now the gig in the public toilets.
I mean, that's legendary, though.
Yeah. Where's the gig scenes bit? Okay, gigs. A gig is an extended conflict between two bands where they throw down on the stage and metal mayhem ensues. Okay. What are the ego scores for your bands?
1.
2.
Okay. Right. So the options when you play gigs are ballad, face melter, showboating, and solid performance.
Oh, it's got to be face melter.
Okay, but whoever's got the lowest ego can't showboat.
Okay.
So let me just write these down. Ballad, face melter, showboating, and solid performance. More usual game, you'd choose in private and then reveal simultaneously, but we don't really have the option.
I'm guessing this is just top trumps between technique, power, and stagecraft.
I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but we shall find out. Okay. Okay. So choose your styles. So you chose face melter. And right to offend, what style do you want your
Showboating
first-
sounds reasonable.
showboating for your first?
You know, they just learned to
Effect.
play a scale, so they're really gonna.
They're proud of themselves. Okay. Okay, so Simon, what is your technique score?
1.
Okay, so the first test is the attention check. So you draw a number of cards equal to the poetry score of the style plus your technique score. So you chose face melter, which is poetry 1, and your technique is 1, was it?
Is 1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got 1 success. Right, and right to offend, you chose showboating, which is poetry 4. And what's your technique?
3.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that you won that face-off. You've got 1, 2, 3 successes. Okay. So now we've done. So you've got the audience's attention by showboating. Now you get to make an impression check. So you draw a number of cards equal to the shred rating plus your power trait. So what's your power trait?
Also 3.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's no use. 4. 1, 2, 3. 2 successes. And Simon, what's your stagecraft?
My stagecraft is 1.
Okay, so at the end of all that, right to offend succeeds, but only barely, gaining 1 point of glory. So this goes in 3 rounds, basically 3 songs each. And that determines who wins overall in the gig. So at the moment, Right to Offend is leading with their showboating. And Disaster Area, who ostensibly it's their gig, aren't doing so well. So Right to Offend won. So do you want to describe what you do for showboating? How are you stealing the attention of the crowd?
Yeah, so they recently had gotten rid of a family of possums, and so they put spears through them and put them on stage with them. And though they can't play their instruments really well, the shock of the dead animals, which they're pretty cool with, got them a little bit of attention. And then they played 3 whole chords. That's the important part.
Well, you only need 3 to start a band, as tradition tells us.
Right.
Yeah. Here's 3 dice. Now make a game. All right. So we now move on to the second round. So choose a style again from Face Melter, Solid Performance, Ballad, and Showboating.
Disaster Area only know how to play Face Melters.
Okay.
Fair point.
And Right to Offend?
We'll go with a ballad.
A ballad. Okay.
Well, we're 80s thrash. There has to be a ballad because you want to get laid. You're not going to get the groupies without the ballad.
Okay, so Simon, your technique was 1, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So you get 1, 2 cards. So 1 success. And Right to Offend, a ballad is poetry level 4. Plus your technique, which is 3. So that's 7 dice. 7, not dice, cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 6 successes. So yeah, your crooning ballad, such a contrast from the dead possums, seems to be getting people's attention.
Well, that's because it's called Possum Love.
Okay, now you draw Shred plus Power. So what is your power rating?
3.
3. Okay. And Shred rating for a ballad is a lowly 1. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 success. Right. And Simon, your stagecraft is?
Is 1.
Okay. Fail. So, Right to Offend somehow managed to keep the crowd with them and get an additional point of glory. Okay, so you're going to have to really pull one out on this last one to have any real chance. So do you want to describe how Possum Love goes over to the crowd?
Yeah. The lead singer, he slows it down, reaches out to the one woman in the crowd, and no idea how she got there, and just tenderly talks about the love that a possum has for another possum, and sings his song as he points to the dead possum next to him. And she didn't run away screaming, so that's a win.
Right. Actually, I think we've done something a little wrong, so just give me a sec to check on the rules. Not drastically wrong, but slightly wrong.
I feel like I've unintentionally just recreated Cannibal Corpse, to be honest.
Okay, so it's not the loser or winner. Wait, it's not the winner who necessarily describes the scene. It's whoever has the highest card drawn. So you could lose but still have the highest card. So that's interesting. Okay, right. We will know that going forward. Not that it makes a huge amount of difference. Right, so the finale. Choose your style.
Well, face melter, because that's all disaster area can play.
Okay.
I too will play a face melter.
Face off. Okay, so Simon, what is your technique?
1.
Okay, and face melters have poetry 1, so poetry 1, technique. So it's a fail, but yeah, you still could pull one out. Okay, and right to offend's technique.
3.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 2 successes. Right, so your mastery of scales has really drawn the attention of the crowd. So next, it's the impression check. Okay, so shred value of a face melter is 5, and what's your power?
3.
So that's 8 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Simon, what is your power?
5.
Okay, so that's 10 cards for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that's 2 successes. So that knocks off 2 of his successes, but he still gets 2. So he gets another 2 glory, which takes right to offend to 4 glory and disaster area 0. Right, and the person with the highest card was right to offend. So do you want to just describe that last face-off?
Yeah, just they played their epic song, I kill things for a living, and a lot of technical stuff, some really ripping power chords, and by technical I mean they played up and down the scale one time, and that was the solo. And but as they leave the stage after what they consider to be the way better performance by the other band, because they're all mad because they're like, it was so fucking epic in metal, and they didn't realize that they actually had won. And they're like, and of course they think, they're a black metal band. It's not about the fans, right? So they right to offend becomes the biggest fans of disaster area. At the battle of the public toilet. I forgot that we were literally just playing in a bathroom.
I'm amazed anyone showed up.
Okay, so
that
right
makes
to
the dead
offend
possible so much worse.
Right to offend gains
I think
1 hope.
I was your audience and you were my audience.
So,
you gained a fan.
So right to offend gains 1 hope, 2 fan base, and cash equal to half rounding down of your fan base. That's your new fan base.
So 1,
So hope goes up by 1. Fan base goes up by 2. And you gain cash equal to half your fan base, rounding down.
Right.
So you've gained me and the janitor that cleans the toilet as fans.
Right. Well, and you gained our band because we're just like in awe.
Right, and disaster area gains 1 ego, 1 fan base, and 1 cash.
Ooh. But it's worthwhile doing a gig.
Yeah, even if you lose. Most things are worth doing, even if you lose. What's everyone's ego at?
2.
Okay. Right, and right to offense go.
So they thought that they bombed really hard, right? Because they're stupid. They're all very unintelligent guys. And so they estimate that was the worst show that they ever could have possibly put on, and the other band was so much better that they need to rehearse again. Well, actually, I don't know if I can, because I don't know if I can increase my stats because I only have 1 cash.
Well, what did you get the cash from your audience from the gig?
Yeah, half the fan base rounded down is 1. So
okay, so yeah, unless you've got a stat at 1, you can't raise it.
So I guess work is the up. Let's go kill some more possums.
All right. So how much cash do you want to earn? The maximum cash you can earn from your regular job is equal to your ego plus 1.
So 3.
Yeah.
2 seems reasonable.
Okay. Let me shuffle these cards one more time.
By work, I mean they're just releasing rats in people's houses and then going and collecting them.
Okay. So, what is your ego?
2.
All right. So draw 2 cards. 1 success, 1 failure, and you were trying to get 3 cash?
Yes. 2, actually.
2 cash. Okay. So your cash beat you, so you lost. But you still get the cash, so you get 2 cash and a point of ego. But you get to describe what happens because you got the highest individual card. So
yeah, so they're out there releasing rats, right? And a police officer shows up and asks what they're doing, and so they can't actually get much work done that day. But Jimmy the drummer, he's the dumbest of the bunch. When he saw the cop, he dropped his bag of rats, and it infested a shopping mall, which is where they ended up getting the money the next day from, without any suspicion on them, because Jimmy's so dumb that he lucks out.
Pretty sweet.
Jimmy with 2 Y's.
Yeah, so you've created a new band member, so you can add him to your roster. Okay, so I am going to go for a band member scene. Okay, so I'm going to spend 2 cash taking the cute goth girl from the youth group out for like dinner and a movie, and try and convince her to join the band as some eye candy to distract from me. So I spent 2 cash, so I draw 2 cards. Getting a Jack of Clubs as the high card. And then Simon draws cards equal to my current ego, which is only 1. So it cancels each other out, but I have the higher card, so that's a success. The band gains 1 hope. And the girl's flattered, agrees to join. I need a suitable bothy girl name. Raven Magpie joins the band as its dancer and backup singer. Right. Yeah, and I get to describe the scene. So, yeah, she's terribly impressed with a large frozen pizza and some gift certificates for getting some online films. They have a pleasant sort of Netflix and chill session at which he pops the question, do you want to be in my band? And she's like, yeah, all right. We've got nothing better going on. Why not? Plus, you know, you're kind of cute and your music's all right. So things go well. Right. Simon.
Well, that concert clearly didn't go well enough because not enough people know about disaster area. So I'm going to go burn some churches to.
So publicity stunt?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to cost money for like petrol and fire lighters, and you know.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got 2 cash.
How much do you want to spend?
2 cash.
Okay. Right. So
he is true cult, right?
right. So you draw a number of cards equal to the cash spent. That's fine. 1 success. And your roadie draws cards equal to your fan base. What is your current fan base?
2.
Okay, so you succeed. Gain 1 fan base. And describe how the church burning goes and how it attracts people to your cause.
Well, the local death metal scene seems to be really into burning churches because that's what death metal people do, apparently. And they hear about this, and obviously no one can like tie it to me legally, but everyone knows that I did it. So they all just go, oh yeah, that peasant Pete from disaster area, he's amazing. He's true death metal, burning down all the churches in the area.
Lucky they were so flammable, really.
Yeah. Why in like Norway or whatever did they burn churches down? Does anyone know?
Because they were in an edgelord pissing contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of neo-paganism mixed in with the metal scene there.
Yeah.
Okay, so right to offend's turn. What do you want to do?
I suppose a PR stunt is in order. We're gonna somehow procure a larger than a possum mammal, maybe something like a coyote. I don't know. You guys might not have those over there, but they're like big dogs.
Yeah, we have foxes.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah,
a little more scavengery, a little more mangy generally, and so if they take care of those for whatever reason during when they were working, and they want to mount the head of it with their band logo in its mouth over the doors of a local a theater,
like a legitimate theater.
Yeah, like stage play theater.
Okay. All right. How How much cash are you spending getting your logo designed and making sure you've got the right coyote?
1.
1 cash.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fail. And what's your fan base?
3.
Okay, we'll cross off the cash that you spent. Okay, so you lost. I'm your roadie, and I have the highest card. So you still gain 1 fan base and 1 ego. And I get to describe what happens. Okay, so a big public meeting is called about all the churches that have been catching fire. Right, so there was nothing scheduled to occur, and there were no churches left to hold the meeting in. So the theatre volunteered to host the big meeting, but you didn't think anything was happening at the theatre that night. So there you are, busily hammering a coyote skull to the front of the theatre when all the concerned citizens from the local area turn up to discuss the church burnings, and you have to flee. But it does get your name in the local papers, so it pays off more than you were perhaps expecting. All right. My turn. Oh. I really should do something other than earn money, but you've got to have money to do anything, really. So I'm going to work. I'm going to try and get 2 cash because that's the maximum I can go for. So Zach is expanding on his thieving operations by getting Raven to wear her corset and distract the security guards, so you can get away with some of the really, big ticket items like plasma screens and shit like that. Okay, so work scenes. I draw my ego, which is still only 1. I fail. And Simon draws for the cash and also gets the highest card. So I still get the cash and a point of ego, but you get to tell me what happens, and something goes wrong or causes friction or...
So it's going well enough having your new backup singer / girlfriend distract people, but someone else takes her attention, a much more attractive man, and she ends up going home with him.
I guess the plus side being that really distracted him.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds like you still got those plasmas, right?
You sell your stuff, but your girlfriend's shagging someone else.
Bitch. All right. You'll go. What do you want to do?
Right. I need some money. I hear that the local curries are really easy to rob from. So I'm going to see if I can walk out with a washing machine.
Okay. So how much cash are you going for? Maximum is your ego plus 1.
I'll go for 3 cash.
And what is your ego?
It's 2.
Okay. So 2 cards for your ego. 1 success. 3 for the cash. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you still get the money. So you get 3 cash. And your ego goes up by 1. And... Oh, wait a sec. Okay, so right to offend, you get to dictate what happens in the scene. He still makes the money, but something goes awry in some way.
Yeah, he gets the washing machine to the door, and they're like, "Hey, sir, you probably shouldn't do that." And he's like, "No, I know what I'm doing." And you know, he finds a $20 bill on the ground, and it just runs off, leaving the washing machine lodged in the door because he didn't quite figure how to pivot it out.
Right, and it's your go. What do you want to do?
So, band member scenes. What can you do with that? 'Cause I feel like I should do that.
Yeah, let me go over the scenes again just to remind us all. So, work scenes, publicity stunts, rehearsal, band member scenes, split scenes, clash scenes, promotion scenes, open scenes, and gig scenes. So, with band member scenes, it can be one of the band members going off and doing something for fun. It could be partying, dumping their significant other if they're a shithead, going to rehab, meeting a musical idol, basically anything that boosts the overall hope that the band might have.
All right, so the singer, Billy Jekoffovich, checks himself into an inpatient psychiatric ward. Not because he has any mental issues, but he just thinks like it would help him write songs.
Okay. How much cash do you want to spend?
You know what? We'll go like this is important. You know, mental health is important. So I have 2 cash. I'll spend 2 cash.
Okay. So you draw a number of cards equal to the cash spent. So that's 1 success, but an ace, which is good. And then what's your current ego level?
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is important, but you failed. But you still get to describe what happens. So yeah, in this case, you just gain 1 more ego. And you get to tell us how it goes horribly wrong.
Well, at the check-in, because he's, again, these guys are not very bright. When they ask him questions like, have you felt like you're a danger to yourself or others? He said no. When they asked him if he was depressed, he said no. When they asked him if he was anxious, he said no. And they just turned him away at the door. But he, in his mind, thought that he was too crazy for the psychiatric ward. And so that makes him epic.
Too cool for school.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's have a look at my stats. Okay. All right. It's time to rehearse. Plus, I want to pin my girlfriend down so she doesn't fuck anybody else again. So. She left you, but at least you get a hit revenge song out of it. Yeah, take tips from Taylor Swift. And call the song Sluts of Fiction. Right. So it's a rehearsal scene. So I cross off 2 cash. And raise our technique to 3. So yeah, we learn to harmonize, and I encourage her to channel into her anger, which fuels our music, by making every song about her fucking the guy from Gary's. Every single one, especially our future hit. That slut fucked the security guard at Curry's. Industrial bands often have practical names. Right. So, Simon, you'll go. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, most successful rock stars have a drug problem, and correlation implies causation. So I'm going to go and spend my free money on a shitload of crystal meth.
Okay, but what kind of scene is this?
Well, this is a band member scene, I guess.
Okay.
As the only band member who can't even play his instrument, he just plays it very loud.
Yeah.
Doesn't really understand how music works.
Okay, so spending 3 cash?
Yeah, free cash on meth.
Okay.
It might improve my playing. It will definitely improve my focus.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. So it's 2 successes, one of which is an ace. So that's good.
Her ace is high.
Yeah. What is your current ego level?
My ego is 3.
Okay, so that's 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you succeed. Gain 1 hope for the band.
Okay.
And you got the highest card as well. So how does scoring massive amounts of crystal meth actually turn out well?
Well, I managed to surprisingly find someone to buy crystal meth from, as some guy who isn't already a meth head. Go down some shady part of town, ask around the local sex workers who are offering their wares on the street corner. They direct me to a local house where a guy sells it. And I spend I spent all of my money on meth.
All of the band's money on meth.
Well, I'm the only band member. I don't have any friends who become band members. It's just me and my guitar, really.
You are the most black metal like ever existed at this point.
Yeah. But I managed to take all of this meth without overdosing, so I've clearly got the rock star genes.
That's a win.
So, right to offend, you'll go.
Probably. So what's promo? Promo is just advertising, basically.
Promotion is you announce you're going to do a gig.
Right.
And then next turn you have to do a gig. Does
that require cash?
No.
Yeah. So we're gonna play a gig. We've moved on up from the public toilets. So we're gonna, because Bill is kind of still feeling a little weird about getting rejected. We're gonna play at the psychiatric ward.
And who do you want to challenge?
Well, it'd probably be more fun to challenge you.
Okay. So Discordant Noise and Right to Offend are going to be playing at the psychiatric ward or outside it.
Yeah, just outside, because we're not allowed in.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Which means I'd better do something to prepare.
Can I retcon my last thing so that the meth dealer joins the band as like a best Happy Mondays dancer thing, just so he's always around.
Join the band and give me drugs constantly.
Yeah. We'll call him Bez.
No, I won't do that yet. That would be mean. Okay. Right. Spend the last of our cash updating Raven Magpie's phone, and then she starts an OnlyFans. The idea being that this will increase publicity for the band and possibly draw some rabid fan base, because as long as stalkers buy a ticket, it's fine. Right. So 1 cash spent. Fail. And our fan base is only 2, so that's the other 2 cards, which succeeds. So we lost. So we still gain the fan base. But we also gain 1 ego. So I don't think Joker's rate is any. Well, no, I guess Joker's high, really, isn't it? Because there's less of them. All right. So, yeah. What goes wrong, Simon, with this for me?
Can you just repeat your actual plan for me?
Okay. So we spent the last of our cash updating Raven's phone.
Oh yeah. So she's got an OnlyFans now.
So now she's got an OnlyFans. Yeah. For cross promotion.
So OnlyFans decide that they need ID verification from her, but she doesn't have any ID. So she ends up having to use a slightly less reputable service than OnlyFans. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but shadypornsite.com.
Yeah. There. Shadypornsite.com.
Yeah. So you still get some stalkers from it, but they're not of the quality of stalkers you'd get from OnlyFans.
Poor quality stalkers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and clearly my jealousy and possessiveness only increases. Right. So what do you want to do?
Well, I guess it's time to sign on again at the job centre. So I'm gonna show up again in my corpse paint, carrying my guitar, which
with your raging meth addiction.
My raging meth addiction, accompanied by Bez.
Yeah. All right. So that's technically a work scene. What's your ego?
My ego's 3.
How much cash do you want to try and get out of them? Up to 4. I guess you could start claiming disability.
Yeah, I'm gonna claim that my addiction is a disability. So I'll go with 4. Why not?
All right. Why not, indeed? All right. So
Getting the state out of as much money as I can.
what is your ego?
It's 3.
1, 2, 3. 1 success, king high. Okay. And then 4 cash. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But you still got the highest. So you still get 4 cash, but you also get a point of ego, and you get to describe what happens and in what way it somehow goes wrong, resulting in that ego increase.
So they don't for 1 minute accept that I am a meth addict or that is a valid disability, but they do think I'm retarded. So they give me it on the basis that I'm, special.
All right. And now it's time for the gig at the psychiatric ward.
I'm just going to go AFK a second while you do this.
All right. All right. So choose our styles. What are you going for?
For the opening song,
yeah,
Face Melter.
Okay. So, smelter for you. I am just going to go for a solid performance because it's our first live gig.
Okay. And you being the only actual band of the three, you know.
Yeah, well, kind of. One guy, a drum machine, and a sexy girl in
Goth GF.
Yeah. I did see a band like that once open for Front 242. It was just a guy and his computer and his girlfriend, and nobody paid any attention to him. They were just watching his girlfriend through the whole thing. It's a bit embarrassing, to be honest. Right. So, let's go with you first as Face Melter, yeah?
Yeah.
So, what is your technique?
3.
So that's 2, 3, and the poetry of a face melter is 1. So it's Jack high, 1 success. For me, that's 3 technique. 1, 2, 3. And for a solid performance, it's poetry 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So looks like I win that face off. So I've got the attention of the crowd. Then we make the impression check. So I make the card draw first. So shred value is 3 for a solid performance. So that's 1, 2, 3. And it's my power that adds to that. My power is 3. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then what's your stagecraft?
2.
Okay, so you managed to upstage me slightly by taking away one of my successes. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 glory. And you got 0. So yeah, we were actually competent, surprising ourselves, perhaps more than anybody. Yeah, that was crazy. So we have to narrate the outcome. Okay, so and I got the highest card. So let's see. Yeah, we've actually been practicing, which puts us ahead of the rest of you quite a bit. That helps certainly, and yeah, having a cute girl, you know, that never hurts. And the fact that she looks hot when she's angry, and I deliberately chose one of our practice songs. That slut slept with a security guard at Terry's. Yeah, she gets really pissed off at me, and that really gets the crowd going and into the beat. So
I was gonna say, wasn't all your songs about how she's a slut?
Yeah, all the ones we've practiced.
She would be angry pretty much universally.
Yeah, but she's hot when she's angry, so it all works out. Okay, song 2. What type do you want to go for?
Showboating. Because that actually worked out well last time.
Yes, you're going to showboat. I'm going to turn in another solid performance because I think that's the kind of guy he is most of the time. Okay, so right, showboating, poetry 4. Okay. I think we'll introduce the optional rules around encores and showboating starting from the next gig. Okay, so what's your technique?
3.
3. Okay, so that's 7 cards in total. Okay, so that's 3 successes. And we draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you do better than us there. So you've got the attention of the crowd. That lot in the discard. You had the highest so far at an ace. Okay. So the shred value of showboating is 4. And what's your power?
3.
4. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 3 successes. I get to use my stagecraft to try and get attention back. Only getting 1 success. So you get 2 glory that time around. And you had the highest card, so you get to describe how it was you stole back the attention of the audience.
Yeah, it was really easy. We're in there just shredding it up, but your girlfriend got mad and walked off stage, and then people got mad because they were there for the goth GF.
The big titty goth girlfriend.
Right.
That's important stuff. Okay, right.
Hey, you build your band on it,
Yeah.
Live by the goth GF, die by the goth GF.
So, what are we ending on? I am going to try showboating for my finale. What do you want to do?
We'll end up with a ballad.
Okay. So, what's your technique?
3.
Okay, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4 poetry for the ballad, and then 3 for your technique. 1, 2, 3. So pretty good. King high, 3 successes. We were showboating, so that's 4 poetry. 1, 2, 3, 4, and our technique is 3. 1, 2, 3. Just eke you out at the last second. So we have the attention of the audience, and now make an impression check. So that is shred plus power. Okay, which is 4 for showboating, and power is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. And then what's your stagecraft?
2.
Yeah. So you knock off one of my successes. Okay, so I got 3 glory, taking us to 7 and ending the gig, and I get to describe the final scene. Okay. So yeah, she stormed off, so we've kind of lost the crowd for a bit. But eventually she changes her mind and comes back on, and I decide to rip into one of our much more experimental numbers, sort of like Gabba beat level. And it's not a great song. It's not a great song at all, but she gets so into it, strenuously dancing along with the beat, that her top suffers a structural malfunction and flies off into the crowd. And if there's one thing that's going to win them back, it's tits.
Yes.
So yeah, it's great roar from everybody, and the gig ends on a high note, and she gets a lot more subscribers to her shadypornsite.com account. So that brings us to the end of that gig, and there's the payment. End of the gig. Okay. For winning, a band receives 1 hope, 2 fan base for me. So that's 5. Cash equal to half their fan base rounded down, so that's 2 cash. Right, you get 1 ego, 1 fan base, and 1 cash. Okay, so going to bring in some advanced rules for the rest of the time we've got to play. So showboating, it's obviously one of the best ones to choose, but with the optional rule, it's dangerous. So if you use this style for a song, things go badly for you if you don't win narration rights. So if you don't get the highest card, you're in trouble. And they get to describe exactly how badly it goes wrong. And you gain no glory for this round, regardless. And you can't use it for the rest of the gig once you've used it and it's failed. Yeah, so it's high risk, high reward, but it can really set you back if it doesn't go over well. And encore, after the third and final round of the gig, the player whose band has the highest ego can choose to play an encore, which gives you a chance to earn more glory. But if you still lose, you gain a point of ego. So we'll introduce that from now on. Yeah, so the crowd outside loved the malfunction, the wardrobe malfunction, and the crazy people were all into it, and probably got some headlines along with all the other crazy stuff going on around here lately, with coyote heads and churches burning.
Normal.
Yeah, hopefully they won't bring in any ordinances against heavy metal music. Right, my go.
Also, you were looking for stalker fans. You're not going to find a better place to pick some up than a...
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Right. We are going to do a band member scene. So, flush with cash from the gig. Going to blow a bunch of money on both trying to win Raven back and be a bit nicer, but also to score a really nice drum machine to replace the kind of half-assed model we've got. But the drum machine will be another member of the band, which is why this is a band member scene rather than anything else. So it's 2 cash spent. 2 cards. Our current ego is 3. 1, 2, 3. Success. We gain 1 hope. Patch our relationship up. And the band is joined by Professor Beat, the drum machine. Switch it. I'm not used to switching cameras, but there you go. That's what I drew. All right, Simon, disaster area. You're up.
What's everyone's ego?
3.
6.
What's yours?
It's 4. So I'm gonna try and steal Right to Offend's drummer because I need a drummer. So I'm gonna try and force
A split scene.
split scene.
Okay, so where is it? Publicity stunt rehearsal, band member scenes, split scenes. Okay. Sometimes members of a band don't get along and threaten to leave. Split scenes are unique because they're the only time you can set a scene purely for members of another player's band. By setting a scene of this type, you will force another player to scramble to keep from losing a member of his band. Obviously, this only applies to bands with huge egos. Only a band with an ego of 4 or more points higher than their hope. What is your hope?
2.
So it is 4 higher because it's 6 ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you picking on the drummer?
Yeah, I don't have friends, but I know this other band has a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like my band, so let's see if they'll come and join it.
Yeah, it's Jimmy with 2 Y's.
Yeah.
So why, Jimmy? Why?
Yeah.
Okay. So we draw Right to Offend's ego, which is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And so Right to Offend, what's your hope? 2, wasn't it?
2, yeah.
1, 2. But we are tied for highest card. Do you want to spend any cash to try and keep your drummer?
I have 1 cash, so might as well.
Okay, so that gives you an extra card. That takes you over the top. So yeah, you get to describe the scene of him not splitting.
Yeah, so Jimmy heard that he might have a chance at going to his favorite band, Disaster Area, but he couldn't find the address because he can't read, and so he never made it to the meeting. And it's a shame too because he fucking loves meth.
Okay, so it didn't work out, but at least you made him spend some cash.
Does that
Right.
reduce his ego at all?
No, it's if you lose the band member, then your ego goes down.
Okay.
So
to poach the drummer.
yeah, well, if you'd poached the drummer, then the drummer would have left. They would have lost 2 points of performance traits and 2 points of ego.
Yeah.
But it failed. So the only thing that happens is he spends some cash and the drummer stays with the band because things as discussed. Right to Offend. Your turn.
Well, they thought that he was leaving the band, so they're gonna try and pick up another guitarist. And so they put an ad in like a local metal zine. Those are still a thing, right? Probably not.
Start one.
That's right.
So going for a band member scene, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have any cash left.
Oh right. There's not much I can do except work, huh?
Yeah.
Then scratch that. That they got to go all in. They just spent this money. They had to give it to Jimmy for math, and then so he wouldn't leave. And so they all got to pile up into the extermination van and go kill some stuff.
Okay. So what is your current ego?
6.
How much cash do you want to try and earn? Up to a maximum of 7.
Let's go with 3.
Okay, so just sticking to the regular exterminations,
Yeah.
not trying to exterminate anything, too big. Okay, so your ego is 6. So you draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All fail.
Nice.
And you were trying to get 3 cash. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you still get the 3 cash, but you gain another point of ego, and I get to say what happens. Okay, so you've played a couple of gigs now. The band members are kind of getting fed up with having to do a regular day job, even if it is more fun if you introduce the creatures yourself for you to exterminate. It's still work, even with that side of it. So when you're removing the termites from this rich woman's house, you can't help but notice there's a lot of expensive looking jewelry on a nightstand, and maybe some of it goes missing, only to be sold. And you didn't get rid of the termites because you did a half-assed job.
That's our way.
That is your way.
You got to pay way more for the whole ass.
All right, my turn. We have no money yet again, so we're forced to work, which sucks. We've reached pretty much the limit of what we can steal. So alongside shadypornsite.com, we're going to launch Raven's own sexy website, and going to produce videos for which I'll do the music, and that will influence our general music. So we'll change our musical style to industrial porn sludge. But it means I get to produce and get to learn a little bit about making videos as well. So we're trying to earn 4 cash, and we have an ego of 3. So draw my ego. 1, 2, 3. And the amount of cash we were going for was 4. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. We fail, but I have the highest card. So how do we fail? Well, we still get the cash. Okay. We launch her site and, upload a bunch of videos to all kinds of different sharing places, but she's now making more money by herself than the band does. So there's less and less reason for her to stick with us. Us being me and Professor Beats. Just have to hope she doesn't realize too quickly. Fortunately, our hope is also quite high, so no immediate risk, but she's slipping through our fingers. Right, disaster area.
Well, me and Bez are going to go into the rehearsal studio and see if I can write a ballad in a death metal style about this beautiful girl I've seen on shadypornsite.com.
Okay, rehearsal scenes. So you need to spend cash equal to one of your performance traits to raise that performance trait.
Well, all my performance traits other than power are 1, so I guess technique, because it's trying to write a ballad, so you need some technique for that.
Okay, so that'll cost you 1 cash to raise your technique to 2.
Yeah, so maybe
Then-
Bez actually knows how to play instruments and can teach me.
So you want to describe the scene for us?
Yeah, so go into the rehearsal space, and Bez has a massive stash of meth on him. We get off our tits, and in a similar way to Lemmy from Motorhead, like being on vast quantities of amphetamines like massively improves my playing. And as a result, I managed to write this song, and it's okay. It's definitely a song, and people might want to listen to it, and that's good enough for me. If only I had an actual band to play it with.
Yeah. All right. So it's right to offend's turn. What do you want to do?
Well, now I have some cash, so now I'm gonna try and put an ad in a zine, like I said before, and see. Must know the scales and 3 chords.
So a publicity stunt, I guess.
Yeah, that'll work.
Because promotion is to set up for a gig. Or was it you wanted to recruit a band member, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so that's a band member scene. All right, how much cash are you spending on this recruiting drive?
3, which is all I have.
Okay. So a bunch of fanzines, and pay for more copies of the fanzine to be printed.
That's right.
All right, so you get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. 1 success, but it's an ace, which is good. And what's your current ego?
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's a failure. Okay, so gain 1 ego.
Nice.
You do actually, despite failing, you do manage to recruit a new player who goes by the stage name Cunt. And he is one. He is a total cunt. He's fractious. He causes all kinds of issues, but the bastard can play.
It's cunt with a K, right?
Yes. For some reason, he insists that he be on all of your promotional gear. So yeah, front and center.
So basically, he fits right in with the band. Is what
yeah, he's too much even for you guys to an extent. Okay, my turn. Raven doesn't realize she can make more on her own. Maybe she's retarded too. So we have some money. Okay, we need to up our stage game. So we take our money and we go on a shopping spree and we buy like a dry ice machine and a couple of lasers, and we offer a couple of Raven's hotter friends some money in exchange for joining her on stage and dancing, but they won't have to sing or anything, just like stand there and look pretty. So spend 2 cash to increase our stagecraft to 3.
You basically just formed the crew shadows.
yeah, essentially. You'll go.
Well, having written a ballad, I guess I'm going to try and learn to showboat. Bez is going to teach me some more tricks with a guitar. He's not allowed to play the guitar in the band because that's my job, and I've got to be the front man.
Yeah.
But he can show me what he knows and then dance for me. So I'm going to spend another cash on stagecraft.
Okay. So learn a couple of the big rock maneuvers.
Yeah. Yeah, he teaches me how to do like a pick slide with your guitar and well, that's pretty much all he manages to teach me. I'm not smart enough to do anything more than that. But it at least looks good.
Okay. And right to offend, you're up.
Yeah. So, Kant came in with a great idea. He said, why don't you guys start selling the blood from the animals that you're killing as stage blood? And so we're going to try and do that and make some money.
Okay. So still slaughtering animals, but taking the blood with you and then selling it as stage blood.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to need some stage blood. I'll buy some.
Okay. So what is your current ego?
8.
How much money do you want to try and make from this scam? Up to a maximum of 9?
You know what? 9. Let's go.
Okay. Right. So draw your ego. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the cash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
About what I figured.
So, well, no, yeah. Okay, so you still get the money.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and a lot of it. So that was 9 money. Was and your ego goes up by 1.
That seems to be a double-edged sword at this point.
Yeah. And I drew the highest card. So as luck would have it, you're called in to exterminate a band of wild hogs that have infested a nearby area, and they have lots of blood in them. And you get to shoot them rather than just laying poison or stamping on them like you would other things that you exterminate. So a lot of ammunition and a lot of blood draining later. You have some big tanks of pig blood, which you sell throughout the metal scene in the surrounding area, and it gets used a lot. And a lot of people suddenly develop illnesses and tapeworm and all kinds of other problems, and the leftover stock goes completely rotten, attracting vermin, which you then get to exterminate and get money for. So
that's a win.
It was half of a good idea. Right. My turn. Okay. All right. So I blow the rest of our money getting more recording gear and so on, and buying followers. And we set up a YouTube channel with mostly censored versions of our porno songs, which are now, obviously music videos, to increase our online following through controversy and sex. Okay, so I spent 2 cash. All that. And our fan base is 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we lose. We gain 1 fan base and 1 ego. And Simon, how does that go horribly wrong for us?
You don't quite censor it properly, and you attract the attention of the online censors, whether Christian right or false left. And they decide that they hate your band with a vengeance, but that does actually increase your popularity with your target market because they think those people are cunts. So
in response to this, we changed the name of our band to what I've always wanted to call a band. Cancel.
There you go.
That probably means no one will show up to our gigs anymore. My second favorite name for a band, if I had one, would be Special Guests. Because that would just confuse matters horribly. All right.
Featuring would also be a good one.
Yeah. All right. So, or Closed for Health Violations would be a great name for a band. Right, disaster area.
Well, this meth bender is going really well, so I'm going to keep at it. I haven't slept this whole time we've been in the studio. Been writing songs and learning how to actually play my instrument from the guy who doesn't have an instrument in the band. I'm going to spend some more money on recording and rehearsal studio time.
Cool.
Try and improve my technique a bit more. So my last 2 cash will go on that.
Right.
Maybe people will actually want to listen to my band now that I'm able to play.
Right. So, Right to Offend.
Yeah, so we're heading in the studio with our new guitarist, Cunt, and Cunt notices that actually on the knob, it actually goes past 10 to 11, and so we're trying to, get louder, and so need power.
Okay.
Which,
So you're gonna
that's what
spend
3?
cash to increase power. Yeah, it's whatever your current power level is in cash.
Right. And now it goes to 11.
Yeah, it's important. Okay, we're coming up on 2 hours. I think if we go one more round, so one more action each, and then the finale. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
If there were more players, I think we'd probably go for 3 hours. But yeah, it's all good this way. All right, so. Right, so we've drawn attention of the online mob, which is both good and bad in terms of publicity. But in time-honored fashion, we try to deflect from our own problems by pointing at Right to Offend and saying, What about them? Look, that guy's called cunt. Their name is right to offend. They're animal cruelty. Or the worst we've done is show tits.
Which is a bit too real if you think about it.
Right, so we're trying to force a split to get you to get rid of cunt. So what's your hope score?
2.
And your ego is now
9.
Okay. So I draw 9 for your band's ego. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. And do you want to spend any cash to keep cunt?
2.
Okay. And your hope was
Also 2.
okay, so that's 4 cards then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, I've got the highest black card. So, all right. So you have to take 2 points away from some of your performance traits. You can do that wherever you want. And you also lose 2 points of ego, so that drops to 7.
I also lose my cunt.
Yes, you lost cunt. Let's see. So I get to describe the scene. So the mob realizes that, yeah, compared to you, we're, fucking nothing. And so they start hitting you. Yeah, your emails are full of abuse. Your social medias are cratered. Any posters or anything you put up, or any fanzines that even mentioned you, they're being burned in the street. Cunt in particular is targeted for abuse. Big effigies of him are burnt. It's a horrible nightmare. And while he acts all tough, it does get to him, and he flees for Mexico.
As you do.
Yeah. Taking most of the meth with him.
Oh, that's the worst part.
All right. Disaster area.
What's your ego, Grim?
My ego is 5. My hope is 4. So I am not vulnerable to splits.
Damn it. I wanted to try and stalk your dancer. What else can I do? I've got no money, and if we're ending it in a minute, there's probably no point earning money. So,
yeah.
Am I able to go on the meth bender without spending money?
Spend 0 cash. Yeah, it just means you wouldn't draw any cards, so you'd automatically lose.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
I mean, it's a meth bender, I automatically lose anyway.
Okay. Yeah, so you attempt to go on a bender, but with no money and no meth. So
house.
Gain 1 ego, and right to offend. You get to describe exactly how that goes.
Yeah. So your meth dealer band member just can't find any anywhere, and you just go into withdrawals and lash out impotently, and there's your bender.
Do I gain anything other than an ego, or just an ego?
Just the ego, maybe the shakes as well. So right to offend.
I couldn't put any positive spin on it, right?
No, not really. So you're good.
So the remaining members are, as said before, so stupid that the being canceled and all the death threats, they actually think it's positive, right? And they just think that Cunt was a pussy, ironically, and that's why he left. And so we're gonna do a big PR push with you know, the remaining skulls and bones from the pig. We're gonna build a giant altar outside of that same theater that we got caught nailing a coyote head to.
So how much are you spending on this?
4.
4. Some publicity stunt, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. 1 success. What is your fan base?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you succeed because you got the highest out of those. Do you have the highest card? No, the highest card is an ace. So gain 1 fan base. Okay, so riled up by this latest act of blasphemy, the council mob actually manages to track down Cunt, and they kidnap him, and they put out a threat that the band must change their ways or they'll execute him. However, this gets on national news media, so you pick up a bunch of extra fans.
All right. Yeah, and fuck him anyway. He left.
Yeah, he left. Screw that guy. All right.
He was a cunt anyway.
So, end game. So this is the Battle of the Bands. Where's the rules for that? Ending the game. Okay. Right. So we're an odd number of bands, which makes this a little bit more difficult. Okay. What is Disaster Area's fan base?
Fan base is 3.
What is Right to Offend's fan base?
6.
And Cancelled's fan base is also 6. Okay, so Right to Offend and Cancelled will be going head to head. What is the total of Right to Offend's performance traits?
7.
Okay. Right. And Disaster Area will face off against a dummy band with the same stats as Right to Offend. But called... There's a random band name generator in here somewhere. Okay. They are a classic metal band called... Speed Rage.
That's actually a good one.
All right. And so we have to now face off. So that's 1 gig each. And then see who out of everybody gets the highest glory. So Give the cards one last shuffle. And let's do Disaster Area versus Speed Rage first. So, they turn up at the theatre, though they're not that happy to see us, to play in the Battle of the Bands. So they're just going to do solid performances for everyone. So what do you want to open with as Disaster Area?
I'm going to open with the ballad about the hot goth girl that I found on shadypornsite.com.
Okay.
That's the actual name of the song, by the way. The ballad I wrote about that girl from shadypornsite.com.
Okay. So what is your technique?
My technique is 3.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, plus 4 poetry for ballads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Right. And Speed Rage puts in a solid performance, so that is 3 cards poetry for solid performance. What is Right to Offend's technique?
It's 3.
Right to Offend.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Right to Offend.
he was.
Yeah, what's your technique?
He was still.
He was
correct.
still right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you have the attention of the crowd, pulled away from Speed Rage. What's the highest card so far? There's an ace in there. And buy durable plastic cards, I said to myself. They'll last. Oh, they'll slip everywhere, he realized.
Oh, on the subject of cards, you can get a 16th century deck of playing cards from ectmagic.com/Kickstarter. It comes with a free booklet of medieval game rules. And
Highly recommended.
So like if you want one, seriously go there like once the stream's over.
Yeah. If you give me the link, I'll paste it in. All right. So now we're on to the impression check. You won the attention of the crowd. So Ballad's shred value is 1. And what is your power?
It's 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is Right to Offend stagecraft?
1.
Enough to negate their 1 point of glory. So you've got the attention of the crowd, but you're not really impressing them that much. So Right to Offend, you want to describe how that first ballad goes against this classic metal band, Speed Rage?
Well, I mean, we're a death metal band, like a brutal death metal band, and we're trying to play a love song about...
Right to Offend gets to describe it.
Oh, sorry.
Twice in a row. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, he was on point with what I would have said anyway. It's not actually technically a ballad. It's only a ballad in his head when he wrote it. And he gets up there and plays like brutal, growly death metal. And the band the crowd just doesn't get it. So they got the attention and they were waiting and they were just like, what's going on here? Why is he on so much meth?
So what are you going to follow up with?
I'm going to follow up with good old-fashioned face melter.
Okay. So that's 1 for poetry. What's your technique?
My technique is 3.
Actually got good, comparatively speaking.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
the meth helps.
Yeah. And then for their solid performance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah, they've annihilated you off the stage. Really, they've dragged the attention away from you, despite this being more in your oeuvre. So now they draw their shred value, which is 3. 1, 2, 3. What's right to offend's power rating?
3.
1, 2, 3. Okay, and what is Disaster Area's stagecraft?
Stagecraft is 2.
Okay, 1, 2. So Speed Rage gets 2 glory. So they're doing well. And right to offend again. Do you want to describe how this second match off goes?
Yeah, it turns out the meth only made him think he was really good. And so he started playing, and the crowd was just very confused and a little disoriented.
Right. Time for a finisher. What you doing for your finisher?
Well, I'm going to have to showboat.
Yeah. Pull out all the stops.
Yep, I've learned how to do a pick dive. I'm going to do it.
Okay. So that's poetry 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's your technique?
Technique is 3.
1, 2, 3. So looking fairly good, but you don't have the highest of cards. All right. So they draw 1, 2, 3 for poetry, and 1, 2, 3 for technique. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're equal on successes. You've both got queens, but his queen is black. So that's a fail. You get no glory points for this performance. So the best you can do is hope to undermine them a bit.
Can I do an encore?
We'll get to that in a sec.
Okay.
Right. So shred values. That's 1, 2, 3 plus power. What's right to offense power rating?
3.
3 as well. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So they get 4 points of glory. So they nearly blow you right off the stage, but not quite. Okay. You want to try and do an encore?
Yeah. Because I think the crowd loves me. I mean, I'm off my tits on meth.
So what did you do to showboat, and how did it go wrong?
I did a pick dive, so how could that go wrong? I don't have a pick in my hand.
Sprained your wrist.
I don't even have a guitar.
He's just air pick diving.
I've gained no points from this, so it's entirely plausible that I've gone on stage thinking I'm holding a guitar, but I'm not.
It's just air guitar. All right. Okay, so you get one last face-off against Speed Rage. All right. And what are you doing? You can't do another showboat.
No, I'm gonna try and do a face melter.
Okay, so poetry
Actually,
1.
no, never mind.
No. It's fine. What do you want to say?
I was gonna say I notice across the the theatre concert venue that cancelled are there to play a show after us, and I spot the beautiful girl from dodgypornsite.com. I think she must not have seen the ballad that I played earlier, so I'm going to play it again just to.
It's a bold move. Okay, in which case that's then 4 cards. 3. And what's your technique?
It's 3.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then speed rage. 1, 2, 3, and another 1, 2, 3. Okay, you actually have the audience's attention. Right. And King High, you're currently the one dictating the scene. Okay. Unfortunately, ballads only have a shred value of 1. What's your power?
Power is 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still pretty good. Right. And what is right to offend stagecraft?
1.
Okay. That's a flat out win. You get 4 points of glory. Not enough to turn it around, but enough to have a shred of dignity.
Yeah, so although I didn't actually have a guitar on me, they did hear me singing, and it turns out I can actually sing. Not in a death metal style, but in
More of a crooner.
Yeah, in a crooning love song ballad style, I'm actually quite good.
Right. And now it's right to offend versus cancelled.
But did you get the lady's attention is the real question.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. Right. I'm going to go for solid performance. What do you want to try?
We're going to open it up by playing the same ballad that he's played twice. because again, Disaster Area is their favorite band.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a cover of our only actual song.
Exactly.
All right. So solid performance plus our technique. So we're going to be drawing 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, that bodes well.
Yeah, doesn't it? Right. And what's your technique?
3.
Okay, so you're drawing 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So we get the audience's attention and have the highest card at the moment with an ace. And that's shred, which is 3 again. 1, 2, 3 plus power, which is also 3. 1, 2, 3, and your stagecraft is 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I get 2 glory points for cancelled. Okay, and I had the highest card. All right, so having endured this ballad for 3 times now in this one gig, we get into a little huddle. We discuss things between Zach and Raven, and we decide that we're going to change the lyrics. So it's now Jimmy with 2 Ys is fucking the Curry's security guard.
Joke's on you. That's true.
And we put some extra venom into it. Okay, second song. I'm going to go for solid performance again. What are you going to go for?
Well, Jimmy with 2 Y's is channeling his rage for a face melter now. He's a little mad, not necessarily because it's untrue. He totally is fucking the security guard, but because somebody said it out loud.
All right, I just dropped cards everywhere, so give me a second. I think that's all of them. All right. So, face melter is poetry 1, and your technique is 3, right?
Yes.
1, 2. Okay. And that's 6 cards for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you've got the highest cards so far. Okay. So we've won the band over with our consolidated and sedate beats. Right, impression check. So that's shred. 1, 2, 3, and power. 1, 2, 3. Rubbish. And then you've got 1 stagecraft, which negates our success. Okay, so things are going well, and we've got the attention of the crowd until you accidentally dump rancid pig blood all over the stage while we're performing. It looks great, but it really puts us off our stroke.
Stinks.
Yeah. Smell bad. All right, it's finale time. We're gonna risk it all on Showboat.
Same. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, showboating. For you, that's poetry 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and your technique is 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. And for us, that's poetry 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and technique 3. 1, 2, 3. Queen's High. So we've snatched the crowd's attention one more time with our showboating, which is going to be all the girls taking their tops off. And playing a new track I've been working on called Tits or Get the Fuck Out.
Reasonable.
Yeah. And then we have to see how much of an impression we make. So... shred plus power. So 1, 2, 3, 4 shred, 3 power. 1, 2, 3. And that all would have been for naught if I hadn't got the ace, which is higher than your queen. So, but that's a success otherwise, and your stage show takes away 1 success. So that's 3 glory for me. Do you want to do an encore?
Yes. We're going to play that same ballad again.
Fuck's sake.
It worked out so well for him that, you know.
Yeah. Okay, we can't showboat again. Besides, the breasts are already out. What else are you going to do? So we'll have to turn solid performance while you're doing your ballad. So, here's another quick shuffle. All right, so ballad 1, 2, 3, 4, and your technique 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so far we've got king, the highest. Right, and we've only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got the highest cards. So you actually win. So you've got the crowd's attention. This is where you get your dignity back. All right. So it is Shred, which for a ballad, unfortunately, is only 1. And what's your power trait?
3.
1, 2, 3. Not bad at all. Our stage show could upstage you. So that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So you actually put in a credible performance. After so many performances of the same song, I guess practice makes perfect. But nothing can really overcome the sight of bare breasts covered in pig's blood.
Well, it's probably helping that we keep singing about the member of your band longing.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the Battle of the Bands. Okay, Speed Rage win the Battle of the Bands. They're not even a real band. It's an NPC band.
With a name like Speed Rage, we were already done for, all of us.
Yeah. Second place is cancelled with 5 glory.
I like to think that Speed Rage is actually a figment of Peasant Pete's imagination because of his speed rage from all the meth he's been taking.
Third place is Disaster Area with 4 glory. And last is Right to Offend with 0. Yeah. Right. Now, we now go into epilogue, but first we need to complete the gig. So is the end of the Battle of the Bands any different to a normal gig? Give me a sec. Okay, rewards are doubled. Okay, so for winning, which none of us did, okay, so everyone gets 2 ego, 2 fan base, and 2 cash. Right, and we now move to epilogues. Okay. How famous the band gets will depend on their fan base. Does anyone have a fan base of 11 or more?
No.
No.
Does anyone have a fan base of 9 or 10?
No.
Nope.
Does anyone have a fan base of 6 to 8?
I have 8.
No.
Okay, so both of us have 8. Your band's future begins to look rosy. Some bands will have record contracts, but their records will never sell well, and they're never going to quite get that big breakthrough that puts them in the public eye. So we're successful in our niche, and we can make a living from metal as long as the bands hold together. What is your fan base for Disaster
5.
Area? 5. Okay. Any band that enters the game with a fan base of 5 or below is doomed to utter obscurity. Their fans might be very loyal and dedicated, but they're going to be few and far between. For whatever the reason, probably meth, the band will never make it big. They'll never release an album, and they'll never be more than a footnote in metal history.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah. Is Disaster Area's hope higher than their ego?
No.
Is your ego higher than your hope?
Yes, by 5.
Okay. So it's a very turbulent future for the band, and they probably split up. Our ego is higher than our hope, so probably Raven takes off with some other guy now that she's made it as a social media influencer and porn star, and the band splits up, leaving a very unhappy Zach Pro to sink into obscurity, producing other people's music. Is your ego higher than your hope?
Oh, by a landslide.
Okay, yeah. Total disaster. Yeah. Band splits. It's messy. And Cunt gets shot by by moral Puritans on live stream. Right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So the game's over, but who won? Okay, subtract your ego from your hope. So that's -3 for me. What's Disaster Area?
-5.
And Right to Offend?
-7.
Oof. Okay, so the player with the highest score, technically me, has the happiest band. The happiest band is the least turbulent and most productive future. Who's got the highest fan base? What?
I think you and I are tied.
With 8, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're the most famous. Break ties with highest total performance traits. So my total performance traits is 9. Yours is
7.
Okay, so yeah, we're the most famous. None of us is. I guess no. Technically, I am the happiest and most famous, and I have the title Ultimate Lord of Metal. But we still break up. All right, and that is Umlaut, and you can play it a lot more crazily than we did, and we played it pretty crazy. It's a fun little game. Worth picking up. It's a good thing when you've got a few hours to kill or people don't show up for your regular game. And it is worth looking into the games it's based on, which is, as I said, is Eternal Contenders, and there's another fantasy one as well. Any comments on the game, guys?
I like the card draw element to add something to it. Of course, it's probably better in person, obviously, rather than you just having to pull a million cards until you get sick of doing it. But it definitely makes for some good dynamics that I haven't played a game that relied on that mechanic before, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I've played a card drawing game like that before either. It was interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd play it again.
Yeah, I mean, so we... Yeah, go on.
If someone else is running it, I'd say play it, but I wouldn't go out and buy it. Because I'd only play it once.
See, I'm in the opposite camp. I'm literally going to go out and buy this now. I have friends, they wouldn't play any other... Like, this is the kind of thing they would actually play, whereas I couldn't get them to play anything TTRPG at all. So I'm going to buy that out, but, like, I'm a unique case just because I have friends that this would appeal to.
Okay, it's $10 for the PDF on Drive-Thru RPG.
Oh, a tenner for a PDF. I take that back, buy it. It's cheap enough. For an evening's entertainment, 10 quid, nothing.
Yeah, it's 10 quid because that's $10. I can't find it immediately on Lulu. I don't know if you can get hard copies anywhere anymore. There might be a few drifting around secondhand. Yeah, I don't know. It's worth a look, but I can't see anything immediately.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that cheap, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's quite old. So.
Yeah.
I don't know about Rockalypse. There's been a few games based around bands and things, but they're much more conventional RPGs. Okay, right.
Yeah, this was very beer and pretzels for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's a good pickup game for fun. So at IndieCon, which is where I picked it up, we played 3 games in a row, just because we were there, and then other people came to the table and wanted to play, and it was easier if there were other people that knew how to play at the table. And yeah, it started to wear a bit on the third immediate following play, but as an occasional pickup game, yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, next time, I'm not sure what we're playing.
What's on top of the pile?
Well, on top of the pile is the fantasy version, which is Eternal Contenders. So we won't be playing that because it's too similar. I'll put that to the back of the queue for a bit. But in that, you basically play gladiators, and it follows a similar sort of system. Not quite the same. Next on the pile is actually Carcosa. So we might just play a little hex crawling in a horrific world of nastiness, using one derivation of basic role playing or another. So yeah, probably go for Carcosa and just play and die. So yeah, that'll be week after next. Next week, you can see me on T-Shirted Historians channel playing Scarlet Heroes. Well, thanks for joining us. Keep an eye on my social media if you want to join in a game or watch next time. And we'll see you then. Tatty bye.